What's up, everybody? This is Rob Shack. So this is part 2 of my Gran Turismo 3 max, not really max speed test, but a 400-meter dash comparison between all the cars in the game. So my last video, I did the Accord Euro R. So if you want to go back, look at part 1. It'll be at the it's in the playlist, and it's also going to be at the end of the video at one of those little boxes. But let's go ahead and get started with the Toyota Celica SS2. This is the 90s one. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and enjoy the video. So what I've been doing, and if you go back to the part, if you haven't seen the part 1, I would recommend go back and look at that if you want. It is the, oh shoot, I just realized I didn't save it from my last video. Wow, that's actually kind of a bummer. Well, it's fine. So go back to the first part, look at the high speeds and the max, you don't see the max speeds, but go back and look at the times that it takes to see them. You can go back and watch the video, and it shows all of the cars in there. So you'll be able to go back and see what cars were the fastest, because as I'm recording this, I'm realizing that I don't have that right at my disposal. So, oops. Anyway, it's totally fine. What I'm going to do is do a comparison of all the cars in the game on the 100 meters, or not 100 meters, sorry. This is the 400 meter dash. Next up, we are on to the Mazda MX-5 Miata LS. So I'll just kind of talk a little bit as I go through it. A long time ago, I think it was last year, I made a max speed comparison for every single car in the game, where I tuned cars to be basically a certain way, and it's pretty much the way to make it have its max speed, but it also works really well for doing the 400 and the 1000 meter dashes, because the gears are set far enough apart that you actually kind of get a pretty good test of how fast the cars are in a straight line, and you see how fast they are in a 400 meter thing. But I've never really compared this stuff, so of course you're going to see a lot of differences between the max speeds and the 400 meter dashes for each car. What I'm going to be sure to do this time, though, is save it so that when I get to part 3, you'll actually be able to compare them right there. I want to compare them to you in the video. Next up, we are on to the Mazda MX-5 Miata. This is the NA version, and this is, I don't remember if this is the 93 or the 89 one, but it's the NA, and we were just using the NB. So I know that Miata with the 12 seconds, I'm pretty sure that's the fastest car so far, because the Elise was it before, and I think it was a 14. So maybe it was a 12. But the Elise was the fastest car of the previous part. So if you haven't seen it, you'll see it. But yeah, so I'm pretty much comparing everything to the Elise, because that was the fastest car that I had in that video. And pretty good. It's a good car. So very lightweight. So that's gonna be a hard one to beat for all the cars, because of the fact that it was so light, and it also only had 5 gears, so it has less gear. Transmission slow down. So that's also a thing. So now we are on to the Toyota Celica SS2. This is the most recent version of the Celica. They don't make it anymore, and I miss this car. I mean, the bummer that I had was with the Toyota Celica SS2, this version. This was I think the best version of the Toyota Celica of the model right before they canceled it. This car looks sick. It's a great looking car, but they didn't really do anything with this. They had so much ground to like make a Toyota Celica GT4 for this car, and it would have been so freaking good, but they never did that. Or if they did, I never saw it. I'm assuming Gran Turismo would have put it in their games, but it always was just this Toyota Celica SS2, and then they had a couple like modified versions of the Toyota Celica SS2, or of that version of the Toyota. So I'm like, they could have just had Toyota Celica GT4 and just had that thing. It would have been awesome, but they didn't do it. So if I'm wrong, then let me know in the comments. So now we are moving on to the MotorSport Elise. This car will probably be the new, because of how good the regular Elise was. The MotorSport is even better. It should hopefully beat everything else that's happened so far, and it'll be the car to beat for a long time. But yeah, it's a good car. I don't know if I should be talking as much in these as I should be. I'll talk a little bit. I'll let y'all hear the car sounds a little bit, and then I'll basically talk about the car really quickly as I just kind of go through all the menus. That's what I'll do. So yes, the Elise definitely was the car to beat. Absolutely, as we probably all thought was going to be the case here. The Elise was by far, MotorSport Elise was by far the best car we've had in the game so far, starting from the bottom. And now we're here, of course, because we're not going to start at the top, because then these cars will never have a chance to be at the top. We are now onto the Spoon S2000 race car. This is the first race car that you can, when I've max tuned everything in the game. This is the first actual race car that you can drive with the weakest power. So here we go. All right, not bad, not bad. 13 seconds, it's third. So yeah, the Spoon Sport S2000 race car is not a very good car. It's just kind of, it's a good car in that it's got amazing handling, but it just is not very powerful, and you can't really make it very powerful. So unless, no, that's right. Okay. So now we're on to the Acura RSX Type-S. So what I'm going to do in these videos is basically just divide it up into about 20-minute intervals, just to make it not too overwhelming. I could easily put all of this in one video, but then it would be long, and I just don't want to do that. So that's why I'm breaking it up into these parts. Now we are on to the Toyota MR2 G-Limited, dark purple mica, one of my favorite color for that car in particular. It looks really good in yellow, purple, and it looks good in yellow and red. Really missed the Toyota MR2 90s model. That was just such a good car. Again, the same thing with the Toyota MR2. The MRS that they made looked cool, but they just didn't do enough with it to me. Like the MR2, they had the MR2 G-Limited, MR2 GTS, but I just didn't see a lot of Toyota MR2s in the newer gen. I don't know why they did that. So there we go. 12 seconds. That's the second fastest car in the game at this point. Pretty good stuff. I'm going to continue along in my list here. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching these videos. I hope these have been interesting. I did the video with the max speed test a long time ago, and those were very well received. So I was like, I don't know why I never thought to do the 400 meters, because some of the cars that you'll see, they don't do as well, or they do better on the 400. That's what I think is really interesting, is that you're going to see a slight difference between all of the stats here. Top cars will always end up being a little bit different between the videos. Actually, that's an interesting thing, is to go back and compare the top speeds and their 400 meter, like where they are placed at the end. So there's a Sprinter Trueno AE86. One of the few cars that I feel like actually has its date very clearly in the name. A lot of cars don't do that in this game. I don't know why. Sometimes they kind of hint at it, but they don't really give the dates of every car. It's probably just easier because there wasn't that many cars in this game. But it'd been nice because there's some cars that have the same name, like the two Miatas that are just different because they're years, and there's two Acura NSXs that look exactly the same, but their names are different, so, or their years are different, but it's okay. It's not too big of a deal. Now we're on to the Opel/Vauxhall Speedster. That might be the fastest car we have so far. Let's see. Oh, it says second. So let me compare here. We'll take a mid-break comparison here. MotorSport Elise, literally 1/1000th of a second faster. Wow. Dang. Alright, so we're still working our way down. These cars are all faster than most of the ones from part 1. I think the Elise would still be here, but other than that, we're hitting the stride of the really fast cars nowadays. But I think we're about to lose it with this Fiat Coupe Turbo Plus. This car is actually very fast on the max speed. This is going to be one of the ones that I don't think this car gets off the line very quickly, but it has a great top speed for its horsepower. So this will be one of the ones where I feel like its 400-meter dash is not going to be as good, but it had a better top speed. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of with this thing. This car is one of the ones where I'm like, this dude is very slow off the line, has a good power, is accelerating quickly, but that start is killer. So it's not going to be close to where it should be. 13.8 is not bad, but compared to the cars that have already gone, to get 8th is pretty rough. But hey, it's not as bad as the Volkswagen Beetle from last time, the last video, where he didn't even place and he was like one of the last cars I did at that point. Now we're moving on to the Mazda MX-5 Miata. This is the other Miata that's got the exact same name. The only difference is the date, and also this car is a convertible when the other one was, I think, a hardtop coupe. So I think this one, I think they always have it closed. It's got a closed interior in the game, but you see that it's got the seats textured and stuff when you see it in the garage, but in the game it's soft top coupe. I mean convertible, sorry. Soft top convertible. All right, there we go. Fifth place, yes. All right. So far, the very, very narrow victory is still the Lotus MotorSport Elise. That'll probably be at the top for a while, and even when it gets off the top, it'll be one of the cars that stays on the top 10 list for a very, very long time. Now we're on to the Citroen Xsara rally car. This is probably going to be one that does really, really good here, and when it did not do well as a top speed. The rally cars, even when you change the transmission and gears and stuff like that, the gear settings, it still is, it's a WRC rally car. It's going to be a car that's going to be great in the very short range, but not very good long range. So it is a little slow off the line because the Xsara has a lot more RPM and power and stuff like that, but we'll see. It might actually be, it might be terrible. I could be wrong. Okay, yeah, it's pretty terrible. So that was my bad. I thought it would be better than that, but it's freaking terrible. Is that actually worse than the Spoon? That might be worse than the Spoon S2000. It is. Wow. Hey, so this is why we do this. Fascinating stuff. It's very interesting to see the comparisons between all these cars. And I obviously am starting from the bottom because I want every car to have a shot near the top. Here is the Mugen S2000. I don't think I put the carbon hood on the front. I think that's the way it was by default. But I would totally do that because most tuners do that in these games. So yeah. I think this car should do good, but I'm not totally sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm obviously filming this and talking about it as I film it. I'm not going back because it's more fun this way for me. All right, 12 seconds. We have yet to break 12 seconds. We've been very close with two cars. Has not happened yet. It's just a matter of time before one of these cars breaks that 12-second threshold, and then we're going to be... it's just going to be 1 second more. I did not mean to do that. Now we are on to the Honda Civic SIR2. This is it's probably like a 93. I think that's the year it actually is in these games. Don't quote me on that either. It's that model. And obviously what I've been doing, keeping it consistent, I just push down the throttle. I don't do the weird stagger thing because that leaves room for me to have fixed it, and I don't want to do that. I want it to be as balanced as possible. Alright, well the Civic is pretty bad. Untiered. That is an untiered, that is the Beetle of this video. The one that is well ahead of everybody else, but then doesn't place. So, it's really weird. It's weird that that's happened twice now. I'm hoping that nobody else has to deal with that. Now you're onto the Sprinter Trueno GP Apex AE86 Shigeno version, and that's the version that's from that, oh, I didn't actually switch to it. That's the one that's from, it's from some show. I don't know what show it's from, but y'all can let me know in the comments what show is this car from. Because it's some famous version of the AE86. Alright, 13,360, so that's not terrible. We're still not at the place where we haven't gotten a car to hit 12 seconds in a while. There's a little string of cars that are a little bit struggling to get off the line quickly. Really makes a huge difference. I'm sure there's ways I could, change the tires, but I tried to keep everything as consistent as possible because I wanted to just do a baseline test. This is the Acura Integra Type R. And they do have the Honda in here as well. And they tune differently, so it's kind of weird that they do that. But we'll see how the Acura does. That logo looks really weird. The difference between the Acura and the Honda is the headlights, by the way. And I don't like these as much. I like the Japanese version of this car more. 14,253. Is that untiered? Yep. Okay, so we have 2 cars now in this video alone as of so far. We'll see if it keeps getting worse. Right now we only have 2 cars. Well, we have 3 cars total. We have the Beetle from last week, or 2 weeks ago. And then we have the Acura Integra and what was the other one? I think it was the Xsara rally car was untiered. No, that's not true, it wasn't. There's another car. I don't remember what it is now. But now we're onto the Mitsubishi FTO GP version R. Good car. Hopefully won't be tiered. We have not gotten a car to tier in a bit. Alright, 13,912. That is the very last spot on the list here. Get a lot of cars that, as the power increases and we have front wheel drive cars, I think you just kind of have that situation where they just out rev their ability to actually keep up. So we got to get to the point where we start to get to cars that can handle starting quickly. This is the Lexus IS, or the Toyota Altezza, but this is the Lexus IS specifically. We'll see how well it does. It's a good start. Right, we finally got a 12. Barely, but we finally got a car to be in the 12-seconder. It's ridiculous. I'll do one more in this video and then we're going to call it. And I will be sure to save it this time so that we can actually do a legitimate speed test comparison of the previous cars in the video. Obviously, y'all can do it yourselves, but I wish I could have done it too. We're going to end with the Volkswagen New Beetle Cup car. Hopefully this is not a disappointment because sometimes these cars are. The New Beetle 2.0 was not very good in the last video, so I'm hoping that the Cup car can redeem the old Beetle. It revs fast. It's a good sign, maybe. I'm not feeling it. Alright, 13,586. Is that untiered? Okay, it's 11th. Alright, so that'll be the end of this video. This is part 2. I'll end with a records test. The best car, of course, was the MotorSport Elise. Very, very close was the Opel/Vauxhall Speedster. And then we just kind of move on down the line. Mugen S2000, MR2 G-Limited, MX-5 Miata LS. The Lexus IS did good. MX-5 Miata J, those are the two. I don't know the difference because they don't say them. The Mugen S2000 did alright. Very good, actually. I was impressed with that one. And yeah, I'm surprised that the Xsara rally car wasn't on here. And there's a few other ones that I was like, really? I'm surprised that you're not here. So, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'm going to go ahead and save it in front of y'all so that you can see this as it happens. And be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Enjoy.